Ms. Morales. Do you want to bring in the cell phone so we can take a look at it? What is it? Yeah, perfect.
You're showing live right now.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. We're just checking on our sound system and other technical issues to make sure that this live broadcast from Facebook is done well. So give me just one moment. We're about to begin. Can you hear us? We're almost there.
Oh, do I need to switch it back over to internet?
We might need to put it on. We might need to put it on mute so it's not. There's not like a feedback loop or anything.
Is there feedback?
Oh no, just in case that you can hear me on that. Yeah.
I can switch it back over. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Verro.
Here. Settings. Yeah, I did. There you go.
Thank you. Okay, so how are we doing, Ms. Morales? Can families hear me? Can they hear me well? I'm wearing my little lapel microphone right here, making sure that the sound is clear.
Ms. Wilkes said yes, they can hear.
Ah, fantastic. Okay, just need to work on that posture right there. Thank you so much. Awesome. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me today here on our Facebook Live. I'm excited to be able to do this one more time before the school year is over. Just a few more days, and I can't believe it. As you can tell, one of our parents requested that I wear my bow tie today, and I think it was a very good request. I'm wearing the Founders Assigned bow tie. It's got a little feather on it. This was actually a gift from our Hoplite board, so thank you very much. I'm sporting this beautiful bow tie that was a gift from our Hoplite board, and I believe, but I might be wrong, it's something that we should check into, Ms. Morales, that we do sell these bow ties in our do we on our Spirit Gear? Maybe I'm putting my foot in my mouth and I shouldn't have said that. But yes, we should if we don't. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today. I only have a few announcements for you today. And then what I'd like to do is open this up for you to ask me any questions that you have regarding next school year. There's a lot of information, also disinformation and rumors floating about the internet that have caused a little bit of consternation, not just to our parents, but just parents in general, wondering about what is it going to look like next year? Are we going to be on campus or off campus? Are our children going to be required to be in little bubbles or cubicles? All those questions, I hope to be able to answer them for you today and to express and share with you just how excited I am about next year, because a lot of the things that you're seeing in the internet are not actually things that are going to be happening. So I will direct you to the right sources, who to be reading, who to be listening to, so that you know or have a better idea of what our school year is going to look like next year. And things are looking positive, ladies and gentlemen. So let's begin with our announcements first. Number one, on Thursday, May 28th at 11:15 a.m. from 11:15 to 12, we are going to have a Hello Summer Parade. If you're wondering what that is, it's a car line, just like we do on a regular school year, where you can drive by and say goodbye to your students' teachers. We are going to be assigning some spots for our teachers where you can drive by, wave, take pictures, scream things that you want to scream, positive things, obviously, ladies and gentlemen, and just have closure for the school year. That is very important for our children to be able to have that opportunity. So that is the Hello Summer Parade on Thursday, the 28th at 11:15 a.m. for about 40 minutes of a car line. You are more than welcome to decorate your car, put messages on it. We're going to be taking pictures and filming the whole event. We are very excited. The teachers cannot wait to be able to see their students one last time before we welcome summertime. The next announcement involves computer drop-offs. At the parade, we're asking parents and teachers not to exchange any items, and we do that as a precaution. So we're asking that no items be dropped off or no items be picked up on this day. What we are going to do is on the first week of June, so from the 1st through the 5th, we are going to open up our campus for you to be able to drop off your computers if you have an assigned school computer. Now, the method to do this, or the right way to do this in a way that keeps everyone safe, is please always call before you show up to campus. Make sure that there is someone at the front office that can help you, and just let them know at exactly what time you're going to be on campus to drop off your computer. The personnel at the front office are then going to give you instructions, and you'll be able to get off your vehicle and walk up to the front office and then just drop off your things in a box that we have placed outside of the office. Our office times, ladies and gentlemen, so you're aware, are from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. every day. So once again, that's going to start on the first week of June from the 1st through the 5th. And my last announcement, on the same day of the parade, so we're back on Thursday the 28th, we are going to have our Scholar Awards. This is very important to us as a school, as a classical school, ladies and gentlemen, that we do recognize the students who have put in a lot of work for the first 3 quarters of the school year. So this is important. I want to say it one more time. We recognize that the last quarter of our school year was a difficult one for all of our families. We recognize that there were Wi-Fi issues, that there were computer issues, that there were system failures. So we are not including that last quarter into our determination for awarding our students for the good work that they've done. We are only taking into account the first 3 quarters. And the way that the Scholars Award work is we recognize the student who's received all A's in all subjects for the first 3 quarters of school while we were here on campus. That's going to be also on Thursday, the 28th, and it's going to take place in the evening. So we have decided to schedule that, and it won't be a live showing. It's going to be posted on Facebook. There's going to be a video where our teachers are going to be naming their students who are receiving the Scholar Award. We've decided to do it in the evening because we want all of our parents, as much as possible, to be there, all of our students to be able to see it as a family event. We believe that this is an important event for all of us to be involved in. So those are my 3 announcements, ladies and gentlemen. There will be an opportunity for Q&A here in just a moment. Now I want to talk about what everyone is thinking about, which is next school year. Are we going to be open? Are we going to be closed? What's going to happen? Are our children going to be in little bubbles, like little hamsters running around the campus, not being able to bond with their friends, etc., etc.? I personally am very excited about next year. My own daughter, Lois Elamay, is going to be joining kindergarten for the first, obviously this is her first time. So she's going to be joining kindergarten, so she's going to be a hoplite. Thinking similarly as you are, have been wondering, what is it going to look like for my girl? Is this going to be worth it for her or not? Things are looking very positive, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very excited to see that the state of Texas has taken the steps to reopen our state and has already taken the steps to reopen schools soon. Now, we've already, as part of phase 2, opened up school for summer. So a lot of the information that you're seeing right now, and this is very important, a lot of the information that you're seeing right now regarding restrictions only applies to summer school. So keep that in mind as you're reading through the governor's directives as to how we should allow students on campus and faculty or personnel. Those only apply to the summer. Now, having said that, looking at the summer can also kind of give you an indication of what the fall might look like. So we don't know yet. Phase 2 is not going to be rolled out until June the 3rd. Is that correct, Ms. Morales? I think somewhere in June, phase 3 is going to be rolled out. But there's something that you should take a look at or keep in mind. Just look at how quickly or rapidly the restrictions are being dropped and the state is opening up. This pattern or tendency indicates, ladies and gentlemen, that by the fall or by August, we're going to be looking at a very different set of rules. So it's very difficult right now to say exactly what it's going to look like, but at least we know that the way things are moving and the pattern that we could, from the pattern we can tell that things are going to be a little better than what they are now. So let's focus on summer at least, just to give you a little bit of clarity and also to dispel any of your fears regarding what school is going to look like in the fall. Already, the governor has stated, which is a very good news for us here, that elementary grade students, so this is all of our lower school students, don't need to wear masks. So this is very important. This is a voluntary, at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, this is voluntary. If you'd like for your child to wear a mask, you're more than welcome to, a face mask. If you'd prefer for your child not to, you're also more than welcome to. It is not mandatory at the moment. We will continue looking at the updates of the governor as things progress. The governor has also stated, which is very positive news, that elementary grade students, once again, cannot be forced to not play with each other. So that's a very important detail right there, ladies and gentlemen. It is not age appropriate, according to the directives of the governor himself, to try to separate the students at recess. So that's another good sign that we are moving in the direction that we want to in order to have a very normal running and functioning school in the fall. The governor has already opened up the school for summer, as I've already mentioned. So students are allowed on campus, but there are some restrictions about the size of the groups to be here on campus for the summer. And he's also opened up the school for sports. And those are all excellent indicators that we are going to be in a much better place in August. So I'm very excited about that. That's just a few details that I wanted to throw out there. You can go to the TEA website, which is the Texas Education Agency, and you'll be able to see for yourself the type of language that the governor is using when issuing these directives. In many instances, you're going to notice that he says things such as "you should," or "it's suggested," or "this is not age appropriate," or "we recommend." So there's a lot of liberty that he is giving us at this moment, and in those instances where there isn't much liberty, we're making sure to follow very closely those directives as well. Now, whether the restrictions are moved or are lifted or not, this is important, whether they're lifted or not, as a school, and this is very important, and I want all of our families to hear me say this, as a school, we will continue taking the precautions necessary to keep all of our children and all of our families safe. So that's very important. This just because the restrictions are lifted, it doesn't mean that we're going to be negligent about caring for our students or our families who are more at risk of getting the virus. So there are a couple of things that we do intend on continuing if the restrictions are lifted. And I could mention a few. Number one, we plan on staggering the dismissal times from classrooms to make sure that our hallways are not crowded when our students are moving from classroom to classroom. We plan on staggering lunches to make sure that our students are not all at once in the cafeteria, but just grade levels at a time. So we'll stagger those lunches, or we can also, another thing that we've been discussing with the team is opening up other spaces where students can also eat lunch. Number three, self-screening. We're going to require that all of our teachers self-screen themselves on a daily basis before entering campus. So that's going to be something that we're going to do as the adults in this situation to make sure that all of the students that we're caring for do not contract the virus. And supervised hand washing. This is just to name a few things. We're going to schedule throughout the day some hand washing for our students so that we make sure that we're sanitizing in our area. We're also asking our janitorial staff to be on campus more often and making sure that they're cleaning our facilities on a more regular basis. So all of that, ladies and gentlemen, to say that I am very hopeful about what is to come. Things are looking very good, but especially in the area of relationships. Now, if there is anything or anywhere where our students have been hurt the most and affected by this whole crisis, is their inability to hang out with their friends, to build those important bonds that are just so essential for their, because even with some of the restrictions that we're looking for summer school, it's looking like our students are going to be able to continue their relationships here on campus in the fall unaffected, ladies and gentlemen, and that is very important. We are going to have some structured, if the restrictions stay in place and roll over into the fall, then we are going to have some structured games that they can play outside as groups so that they're not playing on their own or boxed up in little squares or separated so much that they just kind of live internally for the next school year. And I want everyone to be aware of that. It is a priority of ours that our students are able to continue growing in that area of their psychology by developing the friendships and the relationships that are so essential for them at this age. So I'd like to stop there and give everyone a chance to ask me any questions that they might have about what else the school is going to look like. So I have a pen right here with me, some pen and paper, and I'm ready to take notes if there are any areas, ladies and gentlemen, that we have not, for any reason, not covered in this Facebook Live. How are we doing, Ms. Morales?
This is getting booted up.
All right.
The question we have here so far is Ms. Taylor's asking, what time are the Scholar Awards on Thursday?
Oh, thank you. What time are Scholar Awards on Thursday? We plan on posting that at 6 p.m. on Thursday. And just once again, ladies and gentlemen, Scholar Awards are going to take into account the work of our students, excuse me, for the first 3 quarters of the school year before the school closure. How are we doing? Any more questions?
Are the awards only for all A's?
Question about the awards. Are they only for all A's? Yes, ladies and gentlemen. The awards generally and traditionally at Founders have always been for only A's. So we are planning on continuing that tradition. It's all A's in every subject, so that includes PE, art, and music. So we want to make sure that we're communicating to our students that art, PE, and music is also essential to their growth.
And then, will there be additional classes added to grades K through 3?
A great question. Will there be additional classes added to grade K through 3? No, ladies and gentlemen, except for 3rd grade. So what we've done over the course of the last 2 years is we have been slowly adding a section to our grades. But we've built out to 4 sections per grade, and that's the goal. So kinder through 2nd, we've managed that, and we're ready there. 3rd grade is now moving to its 4th section, and 4th grade is now opening up its 3rd section. So 1 more year, and then 4th grade will be at its 4th section. But 4 sections is the goal, kinder through 12th grade. So we have a little bubble coming up, and we're excited about that. Our school continues to grow by word of mouth. A lot of parents are choosing us over other schools in the area, and that's a sign of health. And I'm excited to see that our families are very happy with what we have to offer here on campus. Just to give you some numbers, we started out the school year 4 years ago around 300, 400 students, and we are going to be close to 800 students starting in the fall. So that is a big jump from where we were at.
Funny is I don't always hear everything he's saying because I'm monitoring you a lot.
I know, lots of questions coming in. So we'll try to get everyone's questions, ladies and gentlemen. So just yes.
All right, guys, thank you.
So summer school. I'm glad somebody asked about summer school. According to the governor's directive, summer school is optional for every single school. Because of the restrictions, it makes it very difficult for us to be able to just run summer like we would like to, but also because it was a last-minute directive. So what we've decided to do is we're going to do summer school remotely. So we're going to continue with the same system we're using now, and we're only opening summer school, this is important, for our children who need remediation. So that's important. Not everyone or not every child needs remediation. We recommend that our students rest as much as possible, get some, get their beauty sleep, go out in nature, use this time over the summer to develop their hobbies, to read books that they're interested in, because once the fall comes around, we're going to hit the ground running, and it's once again rigor, and a lot of work here at Founders Classical Academy. So once again, summer school is remote, and it will only be for our students who need remediation.
Oh, Flick is on my island. Flick came to my island.
There's talk about extending the school year by 30 days next year to make up for
Flick.
homeschooling. Is that something that our school will be doing?
Yes.
So we have not, it hasn't been a directive,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. This has been a conversation that some of the superintendents of the state of Texas have been having with our Commissioner of Education, Mike Morath. So at this moment, we have not received a directive that this will be the case. Now, having said that, I think it would be very useful if the Commissioner of Texas decides that due to closures that could happen next year, shorter closures, say a two-week closure, we might have to extend the school year to make up for that lost time. But at the moment, there hasn't been any directives about starting the school early as a result of the time that's been lost at this point. So we're still scheduled to start August 18th, which is a Tuesday. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. First day of school, August 18th. Our faculty and our teachers, of course, will be here on campus several weeks earlier because we'll be training and preparing for our students to show up on the 18th.
Will there be a plan for the fall when the virus is very likely to come back?
Yes, so if there's anything that I hope we have been able to communicate to our families due to this crisis is how prepared we were, how quickly we rolled out the new systems, how we completely changed our entire policies and procedures to be able to meet the needs of our families and our students, and also very important, how willing we were to send out surveys and get your feedback and change as things were occurring almost on a weekly basis. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, with my team, we have already and we continue to plan multiple different scenarios of what could happen if, say, for example, the virus is back in shirts. So we have multiple plans that we plan to implement in case of that happening. At the moment, with the state of Texas, as I mentioned earlier, we are looking at the possibility of being able to shift our schedule a little into the summer of next year in case we do miss school time. But the plan is to be in school for the full academic year. So hopefully that helps. We're also finalizing right now with our home office the use of a platform that will streamline all of the work that our students have done this year. So as several of you know, we've had different platforms this year, which has made it a little bit cumbersome and can be tedious at home and sometimes a little stressful for our parents to figure out which platform should I use for my child. My fifth grader has a different one from my kindergartner, et cetera, et cetera. We are finalizing this week a single platform that we plan to use K-12 next year in case we need to go back and use a remote system. And that's going to really make everyone's lives easier. You won't have to be looking at two different calendars or two different grade books. It's all going to be in one single place for both our families and our parents to be able to find the information that they need. So hopefully that helps.
For in regards to summer school, how do we know if or how to register for summer school?
How to register for summer school. We are going to directly send out an email to our students who are going to need the remediation. We have already done a lot of that work. We have a few students that we need to reach out this week. But for the most part, if you have not received a phone call from myself or someone in my team, then you should feel you should not be stressing out about your summer. Again, this will be a direct email or phone call that should have already been scheduled 2 weeks ago. So at this point, we're settled on what summer school is going to look like. So thank you for the question.
Okay. Is there any kinder or eighth grade acknowledgement, like normally, like I'm assuming it's Mr. Ecton, like kinder graduation or eighth grade moving on to ninth grade, if that's what he's saying? Because it says, is there any kinder or eighth grade acknowledgement for going from first and ninth.
So, from what I understand, Founders traditionally has never done that in the past, but it is definitely something that has come to our attention and we're considering for this coming year. I know that several of the schools in the area do have a practice of having somewhat of a ceremony, kind of a graduation ceremony for kindergartners in 8th grade. At the moment, we do not have anything of the like except for our Scholar Awards. Now, when school is open, our awards are much more robust than they are this year. We will do a virtual award, we'll do athletic awards, we'll do other types of awards. Due to the COVID crisis, however, we decided to focus on those areas where we knew we could be as objective as possible and look at grades, because we believe that all of our students have or should be receiving or be recognized for virtue this year because they have done an amazing job working on their work from home. So hopefully that answers Mr. Ecton's question. Yes.
Okay, will there be additional classes added for kindergarten this year?
No, ladies and gentlemen. So once again, only 4 sections, and we've reached 4 sections in kindergarten.
Yes, ma'am.
We don't anticipate opening a 5th section, so we want to keep, our goal is to keep all of our grades at 4 sections at most. Yes.
Okay, will you be doing another Facebook Live after June 3rd, Phase 3 details are released?
Absolutely. So over the summer, my plan is to not just do Facebook Lives, but we're going to be working with Miss Morales on several projects which involve filming videos. So we're going to have some videos that we would love to share with y'all over the summer so that you don't forget about us. Yes, you will be receiving these regular updates from me so that you know exactly where are we headed as a school here in Schertz, Texas. So. This is great. This is the most questions I've ever received, so this is wonderful.
In regards to uniforms, will shorts be added to the girls' uniforms for next year?
Thank you, Ms. Elbow. Shorts. So shorts, it's a hot topic right now, ladies and gentlemen. We have sat down with the team to look at shorts. And at this point of the year, it'll be difficult to add to our uniforms, but we have sat down and decided that this is an item that, because it's Texas and it's very hot, should be added to our uniform. So you can expect shorts to be part of our uniforms the year after next, once we've finalized and we're able to make changes again with a uniform provider. I do know that our PE uniforms, however, that has not opened up yet. So Ms. Hostetler is working a lot to make sure that we make some improvements in that area, and we at least, so that's our hope, we'll be able to have an option for a lighter shirt for our students to wear as a result of the heat here in Texas. So
And
yeah.
that opens in July.
That opens in July. Yes, the PE uniform shop opens in July. So between now and then, we're working hard to make sure that we have some improvements there. Yes.
Will teachers be checking students' temperatures as well throughout the day or pre-screening before entering?
Great question. So will we be checking the temperature of our students? At the moment, the directive from the governor is that is a recommendation. So it is not a requirement in the fall. Now, if you look at the summer, however, it is a directive that we need to follow for summer school. Since we will not have students on campus over the summer, that is not something that we'll be doing right now. So for teachers, on the other hand, we will be relying on their professionalism to do the pre-screening every morning before they enter the school. Yeah.
Will any grades be moving into the newer building to provide space in the lower school?
So at the moment, that is part of one of our scenarios, moving some students into the upper school building. But it is a possible scenario, ladies and gentlemen. So it is a plan that we do and are considering implementing if the governor at phase 3 decides that he wants to either add or keep some of the restrictions that we're seeing right now over the summer. But at this moment, we are putting all of our efforts into the main plan, which is opening the school regularly in the fall, and then 3 other scenarios that we have of a possible way to run our school, either remotely or not remotely, in case that we see either a spike in cases of the COVID, or the state of Texas decides that we're going to continue on the way we are. So yes.
Okay, Mrs. Ecton would love to see the bow ties available to our students.
Okay, bow ties to the students. Yes, absolutely. I would love to see that as well. I think there is one other parent. Well, actually, there's many more other parents who have requested that. I think that the bow tie is a beautiful addition. So I don't know. Does Land's End provide bow ties?
That would be a Miss Hostetler.
Yes. We'll ask Ms. Hostetler about that. Maybe for the year after next, we can look at those beautiful bow ties. Mrs. Ecton, thank you.
Let me know when you're ready.
Ready.
Okay. Are you considering a rotating schedule for kids that are more vulnerable?
So as part of our 3 scenarios that we have, that is one of our considerations for children who either they are more vulnerable or their parents or family members are vulnerable as well. So we will be rolling out which scenario we decide based on the information we have. I don't want to. I wouldn't want to burden our families with information that might not be a possibility or might not even come to fruition until we know about what the state of Texas direction will be in June 3rd. Is that right? June 3rd? June 3rd. Okay, somewhere in June. So I want to make sure that I get that date correctly.
If you get 2, please.
Then Ms. Hamilton's asking, how will we return materials / books still being used until after this last week of school? One of the Chromebooks you covered, and Mrs.
Yes.
Hostetler mentioned earlier that
Stop.
there'll be a table
Shut up.
outside that they'll be able to put their Chromebooks on.
Yes.
But other materials, will that follow the same process?
Yes, same process for other materials. So the question is, what do we do with materials if we still need to drop those off after school is closed? Same process as our Chromebooks. Our office staff is going to be available from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So just please, all we ask is our parents call first. We want to be considerate of your time. We'd hate for you to come up here and there be no one to actually offer you some support. So give us a call. We'll make sure to help you between the hours of 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So yes.
And then, Ms. Dion, when are your books for this year going to be available? I know that's been covered in the cyber because we're waiting for Balfour to open back up for production. She said we're second in line. I don't know if you have different news than that.
Yes, no, that's it. The same news that I have regarding Balfour and our yearbooks. Because of the crisis, the production company had to slow down the rate at which they can complete our yearbooks. So yearbooks will be here on campus over the summer, and we plan on allowing our students to get their signatures once school starts in the fall. So we will have our yearbooks here. If you'd like to pick up your yearbooks before the school starts, once again, it'll be very similar process to the drop-off, the items drop-off of the Chromebook drop-off. So we'll be sending out more information about this soon, however, as soon as we get the yearbooks on our campus.
It was actually pretty good.
So, yeah.
With the influx of students, is there any discussion on the drop-off pickup process to ease congestion?
Oh, absolutely. So we have made some significant changes to our academic schedule, ladies and gentlemen. So given those changes, we're going to be able to stagger things a little more for this coming year. The team and I are developing a plan as we speak, we're developing a plan for dismissal that we hope to have published in July for you. So this will take into account the new schedules and the new times so that we have our a much more efficient and easy pickup and drop off for our students. So yes.
Are parents going to be allowed to volunteer given they have no fever, etc.?
My hope is that yes, we depend so much on our parents and we want our parents on campus. And after reading the directives from the governor, parents are still welcome on campus. They just need to follow very similar social distancing regulations that you'll find on the TEA. Just keep in mind that the regulations that you see in the TEA apply only for the summer at this moment. We are expecting some of those or many of those to actually be lifted by the time we roll into the fall. So yes.
will the students be allowed to have a recess? You kind of touched.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. So recess. I'm glad somebody asked about this. Recess is extremely important for our children. We are scheduled to have 2 recesses every day, like we have in the past for all of our students in elementary school, kinder through 4th grade and 5th grade, I believe. And the only thing that might look different is the play might be a little more structured. So that's only if the governor's directives are still in effect after phase 2 or entering phase 3. So we'll know more about that once phase 3 is disclosed to us. We're all anticipating and looking forward to it. And I can tell you, however, that already in phase 2, he has pointed out that requiring that students follow the social distancing restrictions that come easier to adults is not age appropriate. So already what we can do with our younger students is simply remind them to be mindful of those distances, but we can't force them to do that. So yes.
The next 2 questions kind of is the same. So any word of athletics for the fall? Do we think they'll happen? Will we have sports and clubs?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We still plan to have sports and clubs. Our archery team, especially if I can put in a word for them, has grown so much. Everyone's really looking forward to it. We're going to be competitive next year in archery, and I'm excited about it. If I may, I'd like to ask one of our parents who has experience in grant writing, if they can reach out to me. Any grant writers out there who are willing to volunteer their time, we'd love to be able to request a grant for $5,000 that is available at this moment for the archery team. That would really go a long way to helping us improve our archery range and some of the equipment that we currently have for our students. So if there's a grant writer out there, I want to just put that bug in your ear, reach out to me, reach out to the front office, so we can start working on letting the ball roll. Is that what y'all say? Let the ball roll?
To get the ball rolling.
To get the ball rolling, excuse me. I'm trying to sound like an authentic Texan here. It's very difficult. So yes, we do plan, ladies and gentlemen, on continuing sports. And again, just looking at the directives for phase 2 for the summer, sports is already something allowed for our students in phase 2. So we definitely see that happening on phase 3.
What about the monies we've paid towards the PSAT tests? Will they be forwarded to next year?
Yes, so all of that will be forwarded to next year. For 11th graders, however, the home office also covers the cost for the PSAT. So we're looking at either making a second test available to you or possibly reimbursing you for that money. So we're looking at all of those different possibilities. More information will come out in our new high school reporter that Ms. Morales has created for us, and it's so beautifully made, which will come out quarterly starting in the fall.
Do we know of a list of after-school programs that will be doing drop-off pickup at Founders for next year?
So at the moment, that is one area where we're kind of in limbo. So we are looking at our after-school care program that has had quite a bit of success this year. We are waiting on our home office to give us some directives as to would they like us to continue it, or is there any reason for us not to be able to continue it. My hope is to have that information for you within 2 weeks, so that if we are going to continue it, all of this information will be up on our website so you can start enrolling your students for this coming fall. Nevertheless, we will always make sure that you receive our communications both via Facebook and Jupiter Ed, just to make sure that we've covered our ground and everyone has the information that they need.
Okay, and then...
This is great. This is wonderful. Yes.
Right. There's so many more that came in that I lost it. Okay, is there a plan to build a security fence around the school or at least the playground?
So that has actually been a project that we attempted this year, ladies and gentlemen. And the reason it is complicated to put a fence is there are certain regulations that as a school we need to follow. So fences, any type of enclosure would require that our students have immediate exits from these fences due to fire hazards. So that is it's going a little slower than we had anticipated due to the crisis. We just had to stop it altogether. But it is a thing that we're investigating or were investigating before the closure. But it is something that is definitely on my mind, yes.
And Ms. Cobb and Mrs. Ecton are impressed that you said y'all.
I said y'all.
Y'all.
That's right. There's one thing I did pick up, but that's easy. That's a single syllable word. The sayings are much harder. I usually butcher them and oh well.
Y'all.
I'm trying my best, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Ecton did mention earlier that he wanted to know if we're going to have an Ortiz-inspired bow tie implemented into the uniform.
Well, maybe we'll see. There is a conflict of interest there, ladies and gentlemen. My wife makes bow ties, so it is. I'm not sure how to navigate those waters right now, and I don't want to get in trouble with my superintendent. So yeah.
What about monies from the field trips? Will that be forwarded to next year as well?
Great question. So we are looking at both monies from the after-school care program and field trips. And Ms. Hostler is in communication with our home office staff about that to see if this is something that we can go ahead and reimburse over the next 2 weeks, or is it something that's going to have to be rolled over? The only reason this has been so complicated, ladies and gentlemen, is because so many parents across the district in responsive ed found themselves in the same situation, that a lot of that money, it is a little more complicated to go through all of those different accounts and make sure that everyone gets what they paid for. So that's the only reason it's been slowed down, but we are having communications with our home office, and I think the last communication was last week.
And the home office hasn't, they weren't in.
Oh yes, and the home office also, yes, the home office had to close also as a result of all this, so that kind of slowed it down as well. But
And
yes.
Will we have a campus high school counselor? And on campus, I'm sorry.
Not for this coming year, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have someone remotely, and her name is Corey Ellis. She's been with us already for a few months. She has managed, before the school closure, she managed to arrange for us to have here on campus one of the largest college fairs in the city of San Antonio. That's planned to take place every year in the month of November. So our students will not have to, unless they want to, will not have to go out of their way to to go to college fairs. We're going to have it on site for our students on a yearly basis. So even our younger students that are in the elementary grades will be able to look up to that and say, this is what I have to look forward to. So once again, as an academic institution, we are always looking to become not just competitive, but the best at everything that we do. And this is an area where, to me, it's very important that our students are getting the opportunities that they would not get at other schools. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about Mrs. Ellis joining the team and doing the things that she does. She will also be traveling. So we had her scheduled before the closure to be on campus twice this year to do a few workshops on how to find scholarships and also on how to find colleges that actually match the criteria or the desired criteria of the student. So she is still scheduled for that this coming year. And I can't wait for our students to be working with her. She is readily available to us, and we haven't had an issue where due to distance, we haven't been able to rely on her good work to support us here on campus. So at the moment, that's where we're at. It is definitely a plan of ours and a hope that we're going to be able to have someone on site as soon as our school is fully grown out and we have the numbers here on campus for that. So yeah.
What do you mean by structured play if there are recess restrictions come fall?
So by structured play, that's a great question. What do I mean by that? I mean alternative forms of games where the students are not touching each other or touching a single object. So to give you an example, my team is working on a list of games that we are going to teach our students to play where they can be active, play in teams without having to come into contact with each other. One example of that is a form of foot foursquare. So that's one example. Another example of that is a type of soccer that doesn't involve a goalie or someone touching the ball with their hands. So these are the what I mean by structured play. So it's going to be a list of games that our students will have available to them to be able to play in a way that is both edifying and constructive of those relationships and bonds that we want them to have. So what we don't want is what I've seen in some Facebook posts that look dystopian and look frightening. Children in tiny little squares within, taped squares where they're not allowed to communicate with each other, not allowed to be with each other, and then you're just completely distanced from each other. We're not doing that, ladies and gentlemen, at least not now. We have not received any directives from the governor that that's what we should be doing. We've actually seen the opposite, so that's very exciting.
I'm assuming the students, they have to wear masks in school time, so during school.
They do not. At this point, they do not. Once again, that is a recommendation. It is not a directive, so we are not making that mandatory. The wearing of masks is optional. Yeah.
Will there be an initiative over the summer to help the school with their funding goals? I believe there was supposed to be one in the spring.
Mm-hmm. So we are working with our Hoplite board to look at the way that we've done funding over the past couple of years and doing things a little differently. And one of the biggest things I believe, and hopefully I'm not misspeaking here, and Mr. Hunt, if he's watching, could probably correct me if I'm wrong. One of the biggest shifts that I think is a very good one is allowing families to go on a plan where they decide, I'd like to give this much every month, as opposed to a single large chunk at one point or one time of the year. That seems to be a much more family conscious way of asking for your support. So that is one thing that we are looking at for next year.
Ms. Hartman said it's monthly giving.
Monthly giving. Thank you, Ms. Hartman. So she's watching. Hello, Ms. Hartman. That's great.
Ms. Hostetler said that most field trips should have been reimbursed. If they have not received a reimbursement, to please email.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. So this is very good news. Ms. Hostetler just texted. Most field trips should have already been reimbursed. So this is important. If you have not received your reimbursement, please reach out to Ms. Hostetler.
Yes.
Email Ms. Hostetler. Yes, thank you.
Lots of thank yous, the Cobbs, the Ectons.
Thank you.
Ms. Bettis said thank you as well. So back to the uniform, which the shorts being allowed for the girls, they said, is that not an option for the 2021 school year that you have to wait to 21-22?
That is correct. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I think you're winding down here, Mr. Ortiz.
Fantastic. It sounds like, and it looks like our families are happy with some of the answers. And they're sending their thanks and their love. Saying back to y'all, I really miss you guys. I really can't wait for school to start in the fall. Right now, I can tell you that a lot of the excitement is in the teachers that are going to be here next year. Because we're adding sections and our high school is growing, we've hired some excellent new teachers to be part of our team. And the training that's going to happen over the summer is just phenomenal, and I can't wait. Part of that training is going to involve our teachers knowing how to upload their lessons to an online system in case we have to continue teaching remotely, or in case we have to close the school for a week or two, so our students don't have any interruptions in their education. And that's very exciting. Also exciting is the fact that we'll be able to teach our classical curriculum both on campus and remotely. So all of that, we've learned so much through this crisis, and we're going to be so much better prepared for next year in order to not compromise on our standards, the standards that you have chosen for your children, and in order to make sure that we are keeping all of our platforms classical, and we're supporting you as much as possible, whether at home or here, in the continuing education of your children. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. If there were any questions that we missed, I do apologize. We're going to scour through all of through the feed, see if we missed anything, and try to get to you either via email, or please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to answer any other questions you have. Be on the lookout for another Facebook Live after Phase 3 is rolled out. I cannot wait to be able to give you more good news about what to expect for next year. Thank you so much, and in classical fashion, I say goodbye. Virtus tentamine gaudet.